you know you might find.
Hello, everybody. This is
Emma,
and Dad Navigating Life, produced by.
Winstell Productions.
And today we're going to talk about generational perspectives and differences.
And a little bit of extra.
A little bit extra.
A little bit extra random things, probably.
All right. So let's get right into it. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
What were you telling them?
I said I got my parents a bidet and they can't use it.
Did they know what a bidet is?
Yes.
Oh. Did you have to explain it to them?
No. One of them, see, I'm lagging. I can see that I'm lagging.
It's fine here.
He's in his 40s and his wife is Sicilian and he's Italian too, so he said they're all over Italy. And he said like all of his family has bidets.
Oh. Well, what about the South Americans that work there? Do they know what a bidet is?
Oh, I didn't talk to them about it.
Or the Filipino fellas?
I didn't talk to them about it.
Okay.
Did you? The Philippines is like 100 year round.
It's what?
100 degrees year round.
It's warm. It's in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah, because Ernie, his wife, was just there for a month, and her and their kids just came back from the Philippines, and they said it's like 100 there.
Yeah, it's in the southern hemisphere. So basically, their winter is our summer, and our summer is their winter. But even then, it's southern hemisphere.
I said, is it ever cool there? He said, no.
No.
That sounds terrible.
I went there. Remember when I went there? There.
And I remember your letter to me, you saying how hot it was.
It was hot as shit. That was January through, April? God, it was horrible. And
I thought you were there for 6 months, but I guess you were only there for 4.
4 months. And where I was in the very southern Philippines, where they burn their garbage in like barrels out back, and it's so hot and humid that the smoke from the fires from their garbage just stays as a layer right underneath the humidity, and you have to walk through it and you smell it. And
ew.
And it's so hot there, and it smells.
Ew.
I loved it there, but
was it tropical?
Yeah. Where I was right on the edge of the ocean, but then there's mountains in the southern islands. There's mountains all over the place, and there's lots of forests and trees. And
that's the Atlantic Ocean?
No.
The Indian?
No, Emma, the Atlantic Ocean's on the other side of the world.
Is it the Indian Ocean?
No. So it's the Pacific to the east of it, but then I think it's the Pacific to the east of it, but then to the west of it is the I don't know what that is.
Indian.
I don't know if it's the Indian.
There's the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic.
Well, I don't know if it's an ocean. Let me look.
How many oceans are there?
Emma, there should be 7. Do you know how to spell Philippines?
Mid-Atlantic, is that an ocean?
No, there's the Atlantic. So it's the South China Sea. Oh, no. Where I was, it was called the Sulu Sea, Sulu.
Well, I want to know what the oceans are.
Well, there's 7. So there's the Atlantic,
the Pacific, the Arctic, I almost said Asian, the Indian. African?
No, those are continents, Emma.
I know, but I don't know the other ones.
What are the oceans? So there's Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Arctic.
What goes off of Japan? Pacific?
Yeah. What are the oceans?
What's in Mexico?
How many? What are the 7 oceans of the world? Okay.
Indonesian?
That's weird. That's not
what?
Right. Oh, there's only 5 oceans. Oh, we got them.
Yeah. No, we are missing one.
No, Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Arctic.
One more.
They say people now recognize the southern Antarctic. Is there an Antarctic Ocean?
Antarctic Ocean?
How come I'm not? Oh, I guess they're calling it the Southern Ocean.
Southern Ocean?
Yeah.
That's weird. Like in South America?
No, where the Arctic, so where the Antarctica, where Antarctica is.
Oh.
Maybe that's why. Maybe I knew it as the Antarctic Ocean or something, but now they call it the Southern Ocean.
Where's Philippines? Under under India?
No, it's way to the east.
Under Japan?
Under. Means south of?
South of Japan?
Yeah, pretty much south of Japan. It's next to like Indonesia. Yeah, because Indian, you're thinking of the Indian subcontinent, which is way further west.
Oh.
So it's, yeah. I wonder if this is a generational thing. I wonder, is geography a generational thing?
Nick knows geography well.
Why does he know it well?
He watched different things growing up.
Okay. But I mean, in general, is geography.
He knows a lot of, he knows so much history, so much geography. He knows like stuff you know. So I don't know. Maybe because he grew up with older parents.
Yeah, but I wonder. Oh, that could have been. But I wonder if if knowing geography is a generational thing. Like
Probably.
your mother had to learn all the states and state capitals. I never had to learn that stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Did you?
I never learned a song or anything like that.
Did you have to memorize them?
I don't remember doing that. I
Oh.
remember looking at the globe with you a lot.
Yeah, I would buy globes.
Yeah, and
Oh boy. You have to really. What is that? Is that a
a
tiny globe?
globe. It's a globe I bought.
Is it a light up globe?
No, it's a regular globe.
Oh, there's a cord next to
Spins.
it.
Yeah, no, that's my pet camera. Where I
Oh,
watch where I watch them and annoy people at work about my cats.
do you show them your camera at work?
Yeah, say look, and they'll just be sleeping.
You never capture anything good when you're showing people.
Well, sometimes I play it back and then I show them.
Oh,
Like Stella jumping or something. Nothing exciting for anyone else.
no. So yeah, is geography a generational thing? I wonder if well, my dad's really smart. I wonder if my dad's generation learned geography more than we did.
I don't ever remember learning. I maybe like in one class we learned like the capitals.
State capitals.
Yeah, state capitals.
We don't learn
But
foreign countries really well.
no. Well, yeah, no. But also I feel like it's like cursive writing. Like I
That's
think
different.
I was the last I was the last like grade to do that.
You learned cursive.
Yeah, I learned in third grade. Third
There's
and fourth grade.
there's a couple states that are bringing it back.
Really? Why?
I can't remember why.
No one uses it now.
Well, they're bringing it back. You know where I'm glad I use cursive, although I don't use it a lot, is when I write on my iPad. Cursive is perfect for writing on iPad with an Apple Pen
You know
because
the
the more you lift off, the it seems to just work better if you can keep your pen right on there the whole time you're writing.
yeah. I sometimes do like a cursive print. I do like a mix. But
Yeah,
the only time I use cursive is at work when I'm writing happy birthday on the cheesecake plates.
that's the only time.
That's the only time. And when I write my signature.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess nowadays kids are writing their signature in print.
Uh, I don't know.
They're
I
not
don't
learning
think so.
cursive.
Yeah, but your signature is one of those things that's just automatically cursive, so you don't have to learn entire cursive writing in order to learn to do a signature.
No.
Right. So why are they bringing cursive back? I wonder. I wonder if it's a return of traditional values.
I really have no clue why, because I don't see a reason for it. We don't ever have to really read it unless we're reading like an old person's note.
Cursive writing
Or
would be harder for a computer to fake,
yeah, that's true.
right?
But a computer still has cursive fonts.
Yeah. But everybody's cursive, I think, is. I wonder if everybody's handwriting is much different in cursive than it is in print. Like mine is
Probably.
much less clear when I use cursive.
Mine's more clear when I use cursive
Hmm.
because I have like chicken scratch print.
I'm reading a book that it turns out my dad bought when he was in college in 1968. And the reason I know that is because he left the receipt from the bookstore in the book. And so I'm reading it and he's got handwritten notes in there and his handwriting, it was all cursive. It's perfect.
Really?
It's absolutely perfect.
Did he give it to you?
I probably stole it from him.
You still have it?
Yeah, I'm reading it now.
Oh,
You ever heard of the Iliad by Homer?
I have heard of that.
That's what I'm reading.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an adventure story.
Hmm.
But he bought this book, and I know I stole it from him because it's got the receipt from when he bought it at the College of Holy Cross in 1968. He bought it for 75 cents, and he gave them $1, and they gave him a quarter in change.
You probably cried when you saw that receipt.
No, I'll never get rid of the book or the receipt.
Because I love books that I have that have a handwriting. Like that's where I got this from. Was a book. The book, The Power of Now.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
I forget what the rest of the note said, but I think it was like, um, yeah, whatever. But that's where I got it from.
I have one book I'll never get rid of. And this doesn't include the Giving Tree. So the Giving Tree I just bought. I don't have my original Giving Tree. I wonder if my mom still has it.
You read it as a kid?
Yeah, that's how I know the
Oh,
book. I was just a little young fella.
I
Probably
didn't
when
know it's been out that long.
I think it's been out since the late 60s. But I remember it was probably one of the first books I learned to read on. So I was 5. I wonder if my mom still has it. If she does, that'd be a miracle.
Did
But the
she
one,
cry reading it to you?
I don't remember her reading it to me. I remember
Oh,
reading it to myself. I spent hours on that book. Um, no, I own one book I will never get rid of. And I was just thinking the other day I want to be buried with it.
what book?
My dad bought, oh, you might be able to see it. It's a red dictionary. Hang on.
You want to be buried with a dictionary.
Hold on.
Why am I not
It's
surprised?
It's behind the yardstick. So
You know
it's
what?
right,
You
see right
you-
there? There's like a red book behind the yardstick.
Where's the yardstick?
It's right here. Hang on. See that thing? See the New York Yankee symbol?
Hold on. Yeah.
And then there's the yardstick.
God, your finger is not on it.
It's close. And then here's a red book right
Okay,
there.
well, it's all the way on the other side of your finger. So.
Well, in my camera, oh, I see. I'm using my camera. I have 2 cameras set up.
Your finger's all the way on the other bookcase.
It's because I was using the wrong camera.
Yes, I've read that dictionary before. I've used
The red
that dictionary. I've
My
used
dad
it
gave
before.
that to me in 1977 for Christmas, and he has
Why
a
do you
little
want to be
inscription
buried
on it.
with it?
And it has a little inscription on it that says "To Big Joey, love Dad," or something like that.
So why do you want to be buried with the dictionary?
Because it's the oldest thing I own. I treasure that book.
You know what? You should be buried with that dictionary and your sleeping bag.
They're the same color. Maybe
You should be buried in your sleeping bag.
I don't know. Your mother wouldn't appreciate that. There definitely wouldn't be an open casket. Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
That'd be a closed casket for sure. Although, if I'm cremated, I'm sure your mother would love if that thing got thrown in there in the oven too. Did you read the story about the girl who just got out of prison for killing her mother? Her
Dad,
name
this
was,
is Dad.
you know this story?
Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Yes.
Gypsy Rose, yes.
Dad, this is like one of my favorite true crime stories ever.
Oh,
And I've been following it for years and years.
really?
And yeah, and I just watched
Was there a Netflix documentary or something?
there's documentaries, but the only one I have on my streaming service is it's called The Act. It's like a reenactment. It's with actors.
Yeah.
And it won like awards. It won like big time awards. And it's really good. It's really good.
Insane.
I didn't finish it. It is really insane.
Her mother made her pretend to be retarded and disabled.
She said that she had leukemia. How do you fake that? Anyways, she said that
every doctor except for one.
Yeah, I know.
And nobody listened to her.
Leukemia, epilepsy. She made her eat through a feeding tube. She would, like in the movie, it shows
sit
like
in a
her
wheelchair,
grinding pizza and all that, and she had like learning disorder, speech impairment, hearing impairment, all this stuff.
They did surgeries to her.
Yeah, on her eyelids, like muscles on her eyelids, like 10 of them. They did surgeries on her legs. And look at her walking in the pictures now. Like,
to be fair, she does look retarded.
Her face is even when she was a baby, it looked like that. So
yeah,
but no, she's like she's very competent.
So they think her mother had what they call, what is it, Nuremberg syndrome?
No, it's called Malproxy syndrome or something like that.
Something, yeah.
Something proxy syndrome. Well, that's what the girl had.
Where she makes it up because she has to take care of her. So she has to take care of her.
Yeah, and like what's interesting, I was watching an interview on the actors, and just like one interview where the guy just asked them two questions, and they're like, how do you think like a mom could do this to their child? And they were saying that what they learned is that like the driving force is love. Like they truly believe that their child, they make themselves believe what they are saying is true about the child, and they're doing it all out of love.
It's still a mental illness.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's funny how people can fake themselves into believing certain things.
Yeah. It's a crazy story. I've always been really interested in that story for years and years.
And then her boyfriend at the time got convicted of murder, and I guess he's gone for a long time, right?
He's in prison for a long time. Well, yeah. He's the one who
talked her into it.
He either stabbed her or shot her. He's the one who actually killed her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then I guess he's also the one that initiated the idea of like saying, hey, you can do this.
Yeah, but he has mental issues.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like he has like, yeah, but he has like autism or something.
Yeah, these aren't people that lived in a mansion and had tons of money. These are
really
from Missouri. Sad. I mean, I wonder if this is what really poor people do.
That's really no. I don't think this is sad. And Gypsy, she like would start walking in the middle of the night and go to the fridge because her mom told her that she was allergic to sugar her whole life, and she would stab her with an EpiPen every time she had sugar. And so she heard a doctor saying that she's not allergic to sugar, like something that you give her has a lot of sugar, like she can't be allergic to sugar. And so Gypsy heard that, and then she started like drinking Coke bottles and all this stuff in the middle of the night and walking to the fridge and all that.
So I forgot, I think I read, but why didn't she tell somebody, hey, this is all fake?
I read the interview. She said like, I mean, I saw the interview of her. She said she wasn't that smart back then. She felt like that was her only way that she could get out of it. And she said if she went to like a shelter, if she went anywhere, her mom would find her and convince everyone that, like she's, because she has all this paperwork, and she has deemed her mentally incompetent. So
Jesus Christ, fucking people.
But she regrets.
It's the stupidest thing.
She regrets murdering her.
Yeah, well, it's her mother. I think no matter, it's like mothers who love their sons who are like serial killers. They'll always love their sons because they're their sons. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sure, she's gonna love her mother. Yeah.
Yeah, she said there's always another way out. Now she says that, but
Yeah.
when she was in that, you know, she probably like,
That's not a generational.
I don't blame her for killing her.
I.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
no, I don't think. I don't think of her as like some sick murderer.
No.
No. I don't know
Maybe
enough
her,
about it.
maybe that boy, yeah, but not
Yeah.
her.
Well,
He's
the
just
guy went
some.
away for life, and she only got 8 years.
Well,
So.
yeah, he should have. He was some random dude off the internet who just came and killed her mom for her.
Well, no, they met on the internet, but then they developed a relationship.
Yeah, you know what's funny? She's married now to
Yeah.
a guy that she met in prison through pen pal.
Oh, is that how they met?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come here, Stella.
There's a lot of relationships that get formed as pen pals through prison.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on I forget on something else, and um yeah, it's like a whole thing. There's like
Stellar.
there's girls who are like into prison guys.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about people anymore. They disappoint me so much. So let's look at what we may be able to talk about. Let's talk about social media. So you've grown up with social media. You've had a phone since you were, what, 10, 12?
Dad,
Let's
I got
not
a
get into when you could have had a phone.
I got a phone my freshman year of high school on
Right.
Christmas.
Right.
I had an iPod Touch before then.
Yeah. Yeah. This isn't about when you wanted a phone.
No,
when you
I'm just
finally got one.
correcting you.
Okay. So you were 12 or 13?
I was 14.
14. Ooh.
Actually, no, I was 13. I was 13.
Did we wait that long? Yeah.
Yeah, I was 13. Dylan was 12.
That's only because your parents didn't grow up with that stuff, so we didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I didn't have one until then.
I don't think it made much difference.
I'm gonna make my kid wait till they're like 20. Just kidding.
You see, somebody's having fun. You see kids, there's what parents do in restaurants now is they give their little babies phones so they can watch videos and play games.
Yeah, I think
To
it's
keep
so
them entertained.
stupid. And Peyton,
I don't know what to think.
my best friend Peyton,
Yeah.
just for everyone else, she has a little. Maybe I shouldn't be sharing her personal business,
Yeah.
but she has a. Never mind.
But I don't know. At first I was
think
like,
it's
man,
stupid.
I don't know. I mean, is it any different than giving them some crayons? Well, yeah. But
Yeah,
kids
it's
get bored
different.
with that fast.
You can't get addicted to crayons. You're gonna be addicted to devices.
Right, I get that. I just don't know if it's harmful or not because in
I
this
feel
day
like
and
it is.
age, you have to be digitally literate in order to
And
survive.
I think that's harmful.
Oh, not
No,
anymore.
I think it's harmful how much we use technology. How much we're staring at a screen instead of like the world around us. I think that's harmful.
Unfortunately, you have to be digitally literate in order to survive in this world to do anything.
Yeah, I know that. I think it's all harmful.
Some of it may be harmful because I think what you're going for is if you're looking at a screen all the time, you're not forming real relationships with other people in the world.
And you're not like focused on your surroundings. You're just focused on the screen in front of
Right.
you.
So you're not forming relationships with the world.
Yeah, probably half your life is spent looking at a screen instead of like what's around you.
Yeah. But there's value in what we're doing. Communication is better. Work is more productive.
Yeah.
You know, there's reasons that this is that digital literacy or social media or any of those things are becoming very, very important.
Yeah.
But then you're talking about what are the negatives?
Well, I'm talking about like in your free time, that's what we're still doing.
Yeah, our entertainment is all.
We're on devices all day, whether it's our phones, TV, laptop.
We use it as a distraction.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, to bring it back to the generational perspective, I wonder if you feeling this way is partly because your mother and I didn't grow up with this stuff, so we didn't. I wonder if we had you now in 14 years, would we wait to give you a phone, or would you get it in 5 years when you start kindergarten? Or
I bet I would get it in elementary school.
I think you'd get it before that. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I noticed even in people just like 4 years younger than me. Like I had a friend 4 years younger than me, and they were very into TikTok, like making TikToks all the time. Like
Yeah. It's all right.
she has my floss. Um, like I see middle schoolers that are, so I guess it's like all the way up to that age too.
That kind of activities always happen, right? I've known, even when I was in middle school, I knew a guy that was really into breakdancing, and he would have people video him doing it.
That's different than everyone making like TikToks every day, like multiple TikToks a day.
Yeah, I don't think it's different. I think maybe because the technology is so accessible to people that more people can do more of those things. But people have been always been doing it. It's just performance.
Yeah. And let me clarify this a little bit because I make TikToks, but it's
Yeah.
more like vlog style. I'm talking about like doing dances and like
The only difference between now and before technology is that people are recording it. They've always done this stuff.
really.
Emma, you even in the neighborhood playing around, you would dance around, or
Well, yeah, I would
you
make
guys would
video.
sing.
Me and my friend Morena, in seventh grade, we had our own YouTube channel. It was called El Mana TV, and we would like do Ratchet Girl, like
How'd you record it?
she Ratchet on her laptop camera,
Yeah,
and we would do dances and we would post them.
right. And all I'm saying is that even before technology, people were doing this. They just couldn't record themselves.
Yeah, I guess.
As
I
a
feel
little
like
kid, you would do little skits. You were in the what were the plays called, or whatever you did in Hawaii?
at school.
Remember the little dance group you were in?
Oh yeah. See, but that's like I don't know. I just feel like now kids they dress way more mature, they look way more mature, and
Yeah,
they do things that are way more mature than when I was their age.
I think so too, because you were more mature at your age than I was at your age.
Really?
I think as society, as we move, as generations come along, we learn from previous generations.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
And if you think about it, humans are not that old. Like we haven't been around for very long.
a couple 100,000 years, I think, right?
Yeah, but like in modern society,
So what's your point?
like the fact that we can still learn from learn that are like generations like me and you can be so much different. That means that humans have not been around for that long.
I don't get
Because
it.
I think about it like running, for example. Like running, when you first start off, every race you're gonna improve your time by a lot. And then when you get more experience and better, you improve your time by a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
So like humans, they haven't been around that long. So generational differences are much there's large differences between just even two generations.
And you
And I
think
feel
that's
like
because of human development?
yeah, and I feel like the longer humans have been on Earth, the less different generations are going to be.
Oh, maybe. I wonder if, technology has a big part to play in that. So since I was a little kid, we've had probably, arguably, the most important technological evolution ever in human history, and that's
The
phones,
computer. Oh.
computers, phones, the internet, all that stuff. It's probably made the biggest jump in history. But there's not a lot of difference between you and I in generations. I didn't grow up with social media and the internet and any of that stuff, but you did
Yeah,
for
well
most of your childhood.
I got Instagram I would say when I was like 12.
Right. But that's one thing. I'm talking about in general, all the internet and social media, you got it fairly young as a young teenager, even
False.
earlier. I was on the internet before that. So there's not a huge difference evolutionarily between you and I.
You know why I think that is? Because like your childhood really plays a role in who you are as an adult. So I didn't have social media when I was a child. That's why I'm interested to see how these kids now are going to be different from us because they've had all this stuff that young growing up in their developmental years.
What about family values and family structures? I wonder if, from a generational perspective, how much people's views of family have changed. When I grew up, people were getting divorced, but not a lot. And basically, it was what they called the traditional nuclear family. We had a mom, a dad, and had kids.
I
I
learned about that.
knew, yeah, I knew. Did I know anybody who was gay, who was openly gay? I don't think I ever met anybody who was openly gay until I was 14, 13 or 14. And my mom worked with somebody at Mohawk who was openly gay. But before that, never heard of it. And, homosexuality had a huge stigma, and we call everybody homo as a derogatory term. So, but nowadays that seems a lot different.
Well, yeah. um, well,
What about
now
what about when you were a kid? What do you remember about
about
any
that
of
kind of
that?
stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I remember in middle school at Luna in Texas,
Yeah.
for some reason, and I've talked to people now because I grew up military, so obviously I didn't go to school where a lot of these people went to school. And I asked them if they experienced this. For some reason, like 80, I would say a lot of the girls in the school were bi
Yeah.
at the
We're talking
time.
middle school, right?
Middle school, yeah.
Yeah.
Or they used the phrase bi curious. That was like a phrase that like my generation went through.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I think it's still going through it now.
I remember it's a huge thing. And I don't know, I just thought, and then I moved to Alaska. That was not a thing.
I wonder. Well, there
So
were definitely gay people in Alaska for sure.
I'm trying to think in school. I don't remember that many.
They were there. Maybe they just weren't out. But you know,
Yeah.
the kind of the natural. Alaska's got that natural outdoorsy vibe, and there's a lot of lesbians who feel who are okay coming out in a culture like that.
Yeah, there weren't many when I was in school there, but
I wonder if
in
that's a
Texas,
location thing.
yeah, in Texas there were a lot. So, I don't know.
I wonder if social media has anything to do with homosexuality becoming more accepted nowadays.
I
It
think for
has to
sure. I
be.
mean, look at Target.
Yeah.
Target has its own line for um LGBTQ plus line. It has its own line.
Target is a good example, but Target is also a corporation, and they've done things. You were at the Orioles game when we talked about this with Kaylee.
What?
Target does things for profit, and even though they're progressive, and they still, the bottom line is they need to make money, and if something they do stops them from making money, no matter how progressive it is, they're going to stop doing that thing.
Okay, well that's one example. Starbucks is another
Starbies,
example.
yeah.
There's a lot of whatever that freaking Bud Light thing was that happened.
Oh yeah, with Dylan. What the hell was his name? I don't even remember.
I don't even know what it was. I just know Bud Light did something, and that's why people stopped drinking Bud Light.
Well, they had a
Um,
transgender dude do a Bud Light commercial, and
yeah,
he's dressed up as a woman or whatever. His name was Dylan something, and so all the conservatives went crazy saying, "How can you have a transgender guy do this?" Right? So
yeah,
yeah,
and so stupid.
people in
And
general.
what else? Yeah, I don't know. I
I
feel
get
like
it.
it's really talked about now. I mean, there's pride parades like everywhere.
They've had those since the 70s. I
It's
get
way bigger now.
it's more accepted. It's okay. People meet less hostility when they come out now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's way more accepted. Look at all the commercials. Subaru. Have you seen the Subaru commercials? And there's other cars that do this, car makers that do this. They'll have two women as a couple in the Subaru commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're making, and it's the same thing with race. Like they're including more minorities in commercials and stuff now. And like dolls. I went to the store and I saw like black Santas on things.
They have a black Barbie. They've had that for a while.
Yeah, like and black Santas. So like things are just changing now.
Yeah. And that's what you hope out of society is that it evolves and it progresses and it matures.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you get the folks that don't like that and they call this the woke culture. So everything we've talked about is considered woke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the people that don't like that are probably people of your generation, like and older, people who grew up differently.
Here's where we get into generations. So we identify generations as a whole is everybody within a certain age range, but it's not fair to folks like me. I know a lot of the people I grew up with that are my age are not woke, but there's a lot of people that are in our
Yeah.
same generation, right? So that's why it's tough when you label generations as believing something.
Yeah, I know a lot of older people that are gay and like in tune with all this new stuff. So,
So remember, my generation is a product of the hippie generation, where the 50s were very conservative. We came out of World War II. America was the greatest. Everything was very conservative. But then America started making a lot of money. And then we went into the 60s where it was kind of,
baby
they,
boomers?
well, the baby boomers, yeah. But the 60s was a counterculture era where everybody was fighting against the man, right? So all that money in the 50s turned everybody into like corporate people. They were all businessmen and, they worked for big companies. And the 60s fought against that. They rebelled against that. And the 60s people are the people that produced my generation. So we grew up with kind of a free, when I grew up, I didn't have anybody babysitting me when I was 10, 11, 12, 13. My mom went to work and my dad was at work and we were on our own. So it wasn't like now where we watch our kids, like we have cameras everywhere and we don't ever leave them alone. So I was a
Yeah.
product of parents that were kind of, my parents not specifically, but they were counterculture and they were rebelling. So it was very much
Yeah.
freer, and I grew up in less restrictive environment.
Do you think the world was safer when you were growing up?
Safer?
Because, yeah, you know how, like, people say, oh, when I was growing up, I didn't have to have, like, I could run outside, I could play outside all day. And nowadays, kids can't do that. And there's more dangers.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the statistics are. My initial impression is that yeah, I feel like the world was safer back then.
Why?
Well, that's why I'm saying my initial reaction is I think the world was safer because I don't remember a lot of abductions. I don't remember a lot of murders. But I grew up in the country. I didn't grow up around a lot of people.
Yeah. Also, I think, like,
And I didn't have access to news as much. The only news we got
yeah.
was either through newspaper, radio, or TV, and we didn't have cable.
Yeah, I think that's probably a big part of it is that people are seeing these things more now.
Yeah.
And also like big events that have happened in past like 20 years, like school shootings, the amount of school shootings that have happened. There were That's all been like the last 20 years.
So there's
Cuz
something to be said. I think there is, I don't know how much, but there's something to be said that the further we get away from traditional conservative values, the more things are going to happen like this. The more people are going to feel detached from families or from society, and they're going to feel like their only option is to lash out.
I do agree with that, and I also think it's like they are replicating behaviors. They're they're replicating things other people have done.
So it's called copycat,
Yeah.
and that's always been a concern, especially with like
Yeah.
mass killings.
Yeah, and that's why, for instance, like bridge jumpers, like the Bay Bridge jumpers, they don't publicize that because they don't want people like copying that behavior.
I think that's part of it. I think the other part is liability.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think there may, without studying it, there may be something there about this is why church groups and formal religious groups fight against gay marriage, abortion, gay rights. They fight against all that because it's the further you get from traditional values, the further away you get from people feeling like they belong. There's no if you if you grow up in a family with a single mother and there's no father around, you get less guidance.
Yeah.
So that means that you're more open to outside influences.
Also, what about like gay people who didn't feel like they belonged?
Yeah, I get it. No, I'm not defending traditional conservative values. I'm saying I'm wondering why, if people are acting violent, or if there are more killings or more murders or there's more drugs, which there isn't, I wonder if it's because we're getting away from those traditional values where people were there for you, where you knew you could lean on somebody.
Yeah, I think that does have um that is part of that. And I also think that maybe we I feel like we're focusing on mental health now, but we're still not prioritizing it. I think we're talking about it more, but we're still not prioritizing it as a society. Like we're not given resources and we're not given the tools to be able to to know how to handle on our own and to get help because therapy is really expensive. Like in other countries, therapy's free and there's not as much of a suicide issue in those countries. And I think maybe the pressures that we put on ourselves in America or like individualistic countries. And I think there's a lot that goes into it. But suicide's always been a thing. And like, I don't think that's, do you think that's different in generations?
So the stuff we're talking about is tough to talk about because I don't know. I've never
Yeah, I don't
studied
know
any of
either.
this.
It's probably just more of like how much we hear of it now.
It could be.
I mean, I'm sure there's statistics.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I just don't know what they say.
Yeah.
I do think that everybody thinks they're a unicorn. And so everybody feels like more people now feel like they deserve what they want, not what they deserve.
Maybe because of how much we're given already.
I think it's how at least your generation grew up, where we gave you everything we could
Yeah.
instead of making you earn it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying nobody had to earn anything, but in
Yeah.
general, the way we
Yeah.
raised our children is we gave you everything we could, even if you didn't deserve it. And
Mm-hmm.
so
And
now when
even
people are adults and they're out in the real world and they're not being treated special, it hurts their feelings.
so explain the Karens to me then, because those people are your age.
Oh no, they've been Karens for forever. Karen is just somebody who's, well, I mean, how do you define a Karen? Somebody who's,
For instance, Nick was telling me a story the other day about he was fishing with his friend like a few years back at this pond in his neighborhood, and it says no walking, no fishing, like in this area. And this lady was walking her dog in the area, and she was screaming at them, saying that they weren't allowed to fish there, and that she's gonna call the cops. And he said, "Oh, you're gonna call the cops when you're walking in the area that says no walking?" And so she was a Karen, and she stormed off and said that the cops will be there soon. That's a Karen.
So let me ask you this: is she still a Karen? If she had walked over there and said, "Hey, did you see the sign?" If she was really polite and said, "Hey, did you see the sign? There's no fishing here."
That's
Is
not
that
a
a Karen?
Karen.
All right.
No.
So I guess it's the way they do something.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. There's always been those people.
Okay.
My neighbor, I just did a video yesterday about this. I can't wait for you to watch it now. My neighbor, I would terrorize my neighbor when I was a kid from like 5 to 10. That's how old I was. And I would terrorize him and he would yell at me and he would chase me. And so from my perspective as a 5 or 10-year-old, if it was a thing back then, he would have been a Karen.
Yeah.
But he was just reacting.
Yeah. That's
But
like the
but then he wouldn't have
stereotype.
been a Karen if he said, "Hey Joe, stay off my lawn."
Yeah, I was
Right?
gonna say
And he
that's like the
smiled.
stereotypical get off my lawn with his like shotgun.
He had a garden hose. He would
You should
spray me
have.
with his garden hose.
Good. You probably deserved it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, I did. I won't talk about it anymore because it's in my video. But no, I can't wait for you to see it. I guess it is in the
See,
reaction.
you know what not a Karen would be?
What?
I have a perfect example. Remember in Hawaii when I was ding dong ditching by myself?
Yes.
And first of all, what is wrong with me? Anyways, like what? Anyways, I ding dong ditch our good friends, Julie and Dan. And Julie, instead of she could have reacted anyway, but any way she wanted to, but she saw me. She saw me run off, you know. And then she went to my house. She went to our house and she knocked on the door and she notified my father. And she just said, Emma's ding dong ditching. And so then dad went out to, we call it the family tree. There was this big tree in the neighborhood and I was hiding there. And he just said, I remember you were so nice. You were like, why are you doing that? Like, what's going on? And that was like a perfect way to go to battle on both parts. What could have happened was she screamed at me, opened the door, scream at me, and then I get beat, and then
Get beat.
when I get home, then it could have gone that way, but it didn't. So
Not
that
get
was the
beat. You would have
opposite.
gotten spanked.
I would, yeah,
Yeah.
but she was the opposite of a Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Karen is simply in how they address something, how they react, how they act.
Yeah.
It's not in what they're acting to.
Why do you think I was doing that, by the way?
Emma, kids have been ding dong ditching for forever.
With friends.
It's no, you
I
weren't
was
doing anything.
I was
abnormal.
a little girl doing it alone. I could
Yeah.
see a little boy doing that.
Nah, boys
I
can.
was just mischievous.
Yeah, no, you weren't doing anything really different. You were testing the limits. You were acting out a little bit.
Oh my god.
You thought you were having fun. It was probably scary and thrilling all at the same time. Right? Do you remember how you felt?
No, I don't. I just remember those two parts of it.
All right.
And
What
she was
else?
probably the first one I did because she was right on the corner there.
You probably. You weren't going to hide from that. You just didn't know. You start at the corner, you make your way down. People were going to figure it out. All right, what else? How about
Generational differences.
talk about anything? How about let's talk about military service.
Oh
So,
yeah, that's a good one.
if you've noticed, well, yeah, so if you've noticed, the military is relaxing certain standards because they're having a recruitment problem. And so they're relaxing like PT standards because people are fat now and they're out of shape, and hair standards. So now they're relaxing hair standards so that
You can wear braids and ponytails.
right, for racial, or not racial, but for cultural
Yeah.
allowances. And then for females, they're letting them wear their hair longer.
Yeah. But you're allowed to wear a ponytail, you're allowed to wear braids, which you never were before.
And you're allowed to wear, like, afros can be out further than they used to be.
You can have different colors in your hair now.
Right, different colors. So you can express yourself a little bit more.
Yeah.
I wonder.
And you can wear makeup now. like
Yep.
a full face of makeup. It used to have to be like natural looking.
How far does the military go in letting people express themselves with the standards? Why wouldn't they just let somebody come in with a piercing in their nose?
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, why wouldn't they
Because
now?
they all want people. Oh, I mean, I feel like it's gonna come to that point where you can. But because I think before they wanted everyone to look as uniform as possible.
Right. And why'd they
Um,
want to do that?
so that they're not, no one stands out, so that they're one, that all of them are one together, so that no one is like standing out compared to someone else. And now it's not going to be that way, but they're still in uniform, so they're all still dressed the same, but I
But
guess
why
they're all,
why do you want people to all look the same?
why?
Yeah, I think you were getting ready to say it. You came just short. Why do you want everybody? If I look down a line of soldiers in formation, why do I want them all to look the same? Why
So
do I
no
want
one's,
not? Why do I want somebody not to stand out from somebody else?
so they don't draw attention, I mean, or like
But why?
distract from maybe like the goal, or distract the enemy. I don't know.
Maybe it's because of discipline.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, yeah, that's the root of it, I feel.
I think there's three different roots to it. There's discipline, where if everybody looks the same, you know how to make sure you look the way you're supposed to look.
Yeah. So
Then there's
everyone's held to the same standard.
right. So you don't have 30 different standards that somebody's got. Well, I'm an exception. I need to
Yeah.
look different.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what does
So
that do
that,
for team morale? If I'm allowed to say, no, I want to wear my hair different than that person, I want to look different, what does
well,
that
then
do for team morale?
everyone's gonna be able to, everyone should be able to do it then. And I think that's why they're being more lenient. Because when you make one exception, you're gonna have to make more.
So
And
somebody who wants an exception, what is their mindset?
that they're special, and they
And who are they thinking about?
themselves.
Are they thinking about the team?
No.
Not at all.
Yeah. Um,
That's the problem is when you start making the standard different for everybody, you have individuals now and you don't have a team anymore.
yeah. And I was gonna say, like, before it was probably much easier to check people to make sure that they were aligned with the standards, and now, because when everyone looks the same exact way, it's easy to tell when something's different. But now it's probably much harder to notice things that are maybe not exactly how they should be.
Yes, management is much different when there's multiple expectations.
Yeah.
That means leadership is different as well.
Yeah.
Because if I feel like if I'm allowed to be different than you, then our supervisor, who supervises both of us, is going to be expected to know how to lead me because I'm different and lead you because you're different.
Yeah. So HR is probably a much bigger thing now.
I would think it is. So we're just talking about appearance. What happens when you get into battle? And because I feel different and and you feel different, that leader is going to have to know how to lead us both when the bullets are flying.
Yeah.
If I expect to be talked to different than you expect to be, how is that leader going to manage that when the bullets are flying?
Maybe
If I say,
they're,
sir, you hurt my feelings, I'm not taking that. I'm not charging with my bayonet until you talk to me the right way, until I am motivated the right way.
well, maybe the leaders aren't different now, but maybe in the, well, I don't know if they are, but maybe to like adjust to that, they would have to make sure their leaders are more transformative leaders.
They better be doing that now because we're in fighting wars right now.
Yeah, or
This is
maybe like,
something that can't take years to evolve.
yeah.
There's another reason that there's like common standards and expectations, and that's safety.
Mm-hmm.
So when you wear a gas mask, you either have to have no hair or your hair has to be as tight as possible in order to get a good seal on your mask. If you have hair down, you can't seal the mask and you're dead.
Really?
Yep. It's the same thing with like nose rings. If you allowed nose rings, it could catch on something.
Yeah.
Or if you're working on a bomb and your hair is like, it's like coming down below your shoulders, it could get caught in something.
Well, then maybe they can only wear their hair that way when they're like on base or something.
So now.
And then maybe when they're deployed, they can't.
So then how do you identify each situation that they're allowed to have their hair a different way? It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. But they have to do it because one, they'll get sued if they don't. Somebody will sue. Or two, they won't be able to get enough people in the military. And that's really the reason that they're relaxing some of the standards or changing them, is because they need people. And the people they're getting, I have a feeling, well, they're not, I know for sure they're not getting enough recruits. But I have a feeling they're not getting the quality recruits that they need to fill every position. So they have to make allowances for the fat asses, right? For the people that want to be treated different, for the people that feel like, I wonder when it comes to dietary concerns, what they're going to do about that.
All these vegans. Do you think they're already doing like signing incentives?
Well, they've always done bonuses. So it's based on, so right now the services had a bad year. I think the Marines were the only ones that filled their recruiting quotas for the year. So if you look on the websites for the Air Force or the Army or whatever, you'll see that they have bonuses for different, like if you come in as a certain job or if you enlist within a certain number of days.
Dad, you should be a recruiter.
For what?
The Air Force.
Oh, they're all military.
What?
The recruiters are all military.
Oh, they're all in the military?
Yeah.
Currently? You can't be retiree?
No. They don't have civilian recruiters.
No.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be a recruiter anyway.
Why?
I don't know. It's just not something that I was ever interested in.
I just remember the kids that were wanting to join in high school. They were bad. They were bad kids.
So the military used to be a thing that it was your last resort. If you were in trouble or you're headed to prison, judges used to give you a choice. So you can either go to prison or you can join the military.
Yeah. I just remember them walking themselves to a recruiter thinking they were so tough, like, in school.
You kind of want that. You want somebody who's confident.
Yeah, it's just funny to think about.
Yeah.
Because these little boys.
Yep. They'll be men in a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about with generational perspectives? It's been mighty quiet there.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the heck's going on.
They could be choking themselves with your dental floss.
Well, every time I floss, Stella goes, she's like scratching my face. I'm like, get away from me. Oh, yeah. And this morning, I put the toothpaste on my toothbrush and she goes, and she swipes it off and ties it on her little paw.
Well, Emma, just all you got to do is turn around.
And then she'll jump on my back and she's crazy.
She sounds like a handful.
She is.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been Emma and Dad Navigating Life, produced by
Winstell Productions.
Have a great day.
You said that you've never been, but all the things that you've seen slowly fade away. So I start a revolution from